Hi, fifth grade. I hope your week is going well. I'm sorry to not be there with you. I hope to be back by Monday. Today, we are filling out our area and perimeter notes. So, if you do not have the half sheet of area and perimeter notes that look like this, then you need to go get it right now. Push pause and go get the half sheet. So, we are going to take notes on area and perimeter. So what do we know about those? I know it's a way of measuring. And when we're using perimeter, I like to think of rim. Peri, actually, the prefix peri means around, and meter means to measure. So if we are measuring around, what are we measuring? The outside of a shape, a polygon, right? Okay. You can actually measure the perimeter of a circle. But it's called something else. It's called the circumference. But that is not fifth grade. That is sixth grade, I believe, maybe seventh grade. So let's contrast that with area. Think about an area rug. What does that cover? Does it cover around or does it cover the inside of something? An area rug would cover the floor, which would be the inside of a shape. So perimeter measures the outside, area measures the inside. Well, how do we find this? For perimeter, our operation is to add. What do we add together? We add up all the sides. Just like if you were measuring a room, around a room, you would measure all the walls, right? How long each wall was, and then you would add it together. So perimeter is adding up all the sides. How do we find area? I like to think of another word that sounds a lot like area, array. How do we find arrays? Well, we multiply, right? So to find area, we multiply the length times the width. Now I am typing this because I know I didn't leave y'all a ton of room on these lines. Someday I'll learn, but if I were writing using the draw icon or draw tool and using my mouse, it would be really messy. So I'm trying not to be too messy with y'all. Okay, so the perimeter, like we talked about, it measures all the sides. Well, it measures all the sides, and actually I copied this and it's a perfect match. When we are measuring perimeter, we're using length, right? Because when you go all the way around, you're looking for how long something is. So perimeter measures length. But when we are measuring area, we're actually counting the surface of something. So think about the difference of measuring around the TV. You were going to measure your TV. The difference between a measuring around it, if we were going to find the perimeter, and then measuring the inside, the actual screen. So for area, we count the surface. Well, what does that mean, count the surface? It's actually, and it's if you had little squares, or let's see, if you had little squares covering the surface, you would count the little squares. So that's actually what area is. It'd be like if, once again, you're measuring your TV and you put little squares all over the surface of the TV, and you counted the squares. Well, that's what area is. How many squares would it take to cover up whatever it is you're measuring, your TV in this example? Okay, so for what does it look like if we were measuring perimeter? We said, oh, the perimeter is 25. Well, 25 what? Well, it'd be some type of length. So think about ways we measure length. Inches, feet. If we were measuring something really big, we could use miles. So it's any way that we measure length, or a unit of length is what we would use for perimeter. But for area, we use something called, well, actually what I'm going to do is copy this because that is what we use when we measure area. Remember how I said it's like counting the squares that cover a surface? Well, so if we were looking for the area of something, we would say the area is 27 square units. It could be square centimeters, square inches, square feet. How big were those little squares that we used to cover the surface? Were they an inch big? Were they a foot big? That's how we decide what the unit is. And not squares, units. We're going to put square. Sorry if I messed that up for y'all. Okay, and then finally, the operation used for both. What do you think it is? We've already kind of talked about it. The operation for a perimeter, did you say addition? And what about for area? It's multiplication, right? Uh-oh. Oh, now it's clicked over. Here, I'm going to move my little video up there. Change this to multiplication. So this circle of a Venn diagram is always, or that part of it, is always, what do they have in common? Well, what do you notice that they have in common? What would you put in the middle? Well, we're certainly measuring things. And what are we measuring in each case? Well, polygons, right? Measuring polygons. What else do they have in common? Well, one thing I love about perimeter and area is it has everyday solutions, which means we use this in our everyday lives. Lots of jobs use this. Construction, building anything is going to use area and perimeter. Designing anything. So this is an everyday use, area and perimeter. And then finally, well, how do we find area and perimeter? Well, our operations are addition and multiplication. So when we could use, say we use operations to solve, and both of them talk about joining things together, right? When we add, we join things together, and when we multiply, we join things together. So joining things together. Do you have anything else you would add to what they both have in common? I would love to see it. Okay, so now you are ready to either, oh, you should have already finished your Nearpod lesson. So now you are ready to do your assignment. Okay? I will see y'all soon.